Hi there. Welcome to Monday. I hope your Monday's going well. I'm doing that dreaded switching over the closets from winter to summer or summer to winter because it got really cold here this past weekend. And so I'm like, really can't live without those winter clothes. Um, but I hate the part where you have to actually try things on. That gets pretty awful. Um, so this week, we are going to talk all week about toxicity. I know we hear a lot about toxic foods and chemicals in our water and foods and toxic air, and things that harm health and that legitimately we need to think about. But this week, I want to think a little bit about toxicities that affect our spirits and our lives in other ways, and sometimes also our health. Now, the definition of toxicity is the quality of being very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. Um, so, what are the things that sometimes come in and harm our lives in a very pervasive way, and we may not even realize it? I kind of think of it as things that creep into our lives. It's not like I'm drinking this glass of poison and suddenly I'm dead. It's like this toxicity builds up over time, and it happens in our lives in a lot of ways. Um, Leon Brown, there's a quote from him that I like that says, "Every day you must unlearn the ways that hold you back. You must rid yourself of negativity so you can learn to fly." So, what are the things that are holding us back that keep us from flying because we have ways that we need to unlearn things that are toxic in our lives? So, let's talk about a couple of those, and we're going to expand on them during the week in different ways. But first of all, people can be toxic, right? Family and friends, coworkers, strangers, they can be toxic, particularly to our mental health and our spirit. So, we're going to talk about that a little later in the week. Also, our dreams and our desires can be unhealthy. We've already talked about some of that. Our habits and attitudes can be toxic. Certainly, unrealistic expectations can be toxic, which is one of the reasons I talked about them in the very beginning, because that's really powerful. How we experience our expectations and how they affect our lives can be toxic. And probably, I think the most dangerous way, the most dangerous in the day to day way because of its insidiousness, is toxic self talk. This is another one we're going to talk about later in the week as its own broadcast, because it's really important to think about our thoughts and how we speak to ourselves. Henry Ford says, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And so that toxicity that when we pour negative things into our lives, whether it's our own self-talk, whether it's from other people, whether it's from dreams and expectations, or it's our habits, we can negatively impact our own mental, physical, spiritual health through these things that just continue to build up and become toxic in our lives. So I hope you'll join me later in the week as we talk about those different toxicities and some ways to combat that. Have a great day. I'm back to trying on clothes before I bother to put them in the closet. Have a great day.